in that state. Don't stay in that state. Well, I don't know many people in my neighborhood who stay in that state. He must have lived in a really great time, because he wrote a whole book about, hey, don't stay in that state. So evidently it must have been an interesting problem for Athenians in the 5th century. Right? Don't stay in, oh, okay, I won't stay in bliss. But this is what he's addressing. Now, why does he do this? Why not stay there? Because he has one idea that makes, I think, Plato, makes him so unusual. And I'm going to express it in terms of the symposium for a moment. The whole symposium is governed by basically a very simple analogy. Boy sees beautiful girl, love. Boy and girl get together, conception. Girl is pregnant. One, two, three, four. Now he uses this, and he's going to develop this on another level, the level of the mind. He's saying the mind, which he calls soul, we can use the word soul, and there's a soul, it is attracted to beauty. This is where he gets in her. That's the language he uses. Begetting and birth in the beautiful. He uses that expression again and again and again. Therefore, here, the whole idea is for the soul or mind to be in beauty. That's this state. He said, as a result of that, the soul, as you can see in this very beautiful picture of a pregnant soul, my gosh. There's a pregnant soul. There's something that must be born out of that experience. Something has to come to birth and be nurtured. See, it must be something that's coming, must be nurtured, must be developed. And the word that Plato uses to describe that birth of the soul is excellence. Arateia. That there is a certain kind of excellence that one wants to achieve, must achieve, from the experience of beauty. Or one's impotent. There has to be something higher than this. Put it in the creative world. In the activity, in the most important creative activity, there must be something that's generated out of it. There has to be some excellence that emerges out of that. That's the whole point of Platonic thought. And it must take the form of an excellence. So this, you see, experiencing that that is, in all actuality, that's this state. To stay in that state means, therefore, that you are enjoying that state, but nothing comes out of it, nothing emerges. There's no creative activity. This has to develop. From this, one becomes involved in the need to produce, to create. That's the model. And the thing that must be created must be of a high degree of excellence. You know what that means? That means there is something greater than this. Or it would be quite content to stay here. Now, one of the great dilemmas is that most of the great dramas deal with, and human dramas deal with this. This is called romance. You want to block this, you want to block this, and you don't want to get involved in this. That is to say, people want to stay in this state. But there's got to be something that emerges from that experience. That's what Plato's saying. Don't stay there. Don't stay here. You're missing the fact that something should emerge. There should be some kind of conception that comes out of that kind of, or any kind of intense relationship. There has to be something that comes out of it. Something has to emerge from it. And the key word he uses, it's not enough that there must be something born from that, but once that excellence is born, it has to be nurtured and developed. That's the way he presents it in the symposium. So that this is not sufficient, as magnificent and as blissful as it is. Now, if people can stay in this state only for a certain period of time, and the whole point that he makes is that this state that we're calling the conception, this state, one has to learn to endure it. There has to be some endurance. There has to be, it can't be a flitting experience. There has to be some way to stay in that for the next state to emerge. And the biggest thing is that this takes a certain degree of strength and development to endure such an extreme blissful state, whether it's here or here. So in the Republic, when he gets to this point, he said, we should never allow people to stay in this state. But we have to do everything we can to get them to come out of that state and develop that kind of excellence, to take the kind of excellence